or 8 drivers this past weekend about how many street courses we should have, or if they would support the idea of a second one. Mm-hmm. And it seems like the universal answer is we should only have one. Now, the question of where it should be is a little up in the air. There's been some rumor about San Diego potentially having a street course race.
Yeah, I remember that.
At some point in the future. Yeah, and maybe potentially even next year, as soon as next year. I don't know. I don't know if that's for the best. Personally, if you ask me, and don't get me wrong, I agree. I think we should have a formal race date in SoCal, depending on where that should be. In SoCal, we already have one in California with Sonoma coming up, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But for me personally, my opinion is we should go to Chicago again. I think at this point, that track has solidified itself as a very popular date among fans. It's a very popular date among what I believe some of the locals. I mean, I was there myself and I saw quite a few people there. So despite what certain Chicago journalists might be saying and completely getting certain facts wrong about, in that NASCAR maybe shouldn't be in Chicago, or maybe it's just taking up too much space in Chicago. And I remember one of the lines was, "We speak baseball, we speak basketball, we speak football." And it's like, well, yeah, you speak those things, but you don't speak them too well, for one. And for two, I see a lot of things out there that were speaking NASCAR also. So I don't agree with the notion that Chicago is rejecting NASCAR. I think it's embraced it. I mean, the mayor himself, Brandon Johnson, was there this past weekend, and he said himself, the quote, "It has become a tradition at this point," and I'm kind of with him. On the personal side, I think it was a fantastic venue. It's beautiful. I love walking from the hotel to the racetrack, and I think that's like the number one thing that a lot of people like when they go out there. And
yeah.
It's a wonderful venue, and it means that the one gripe that I've heard is it shouldn't be on 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
Look, if that's what it takes to get away from it, to keep it going, okay, let's do it. Let's just move it down the line.
Absolutely. Now, I'm curious myself. I don't think Brian discussed this with Ed on the show. Where were press seated at on this street race specifically? Were you on Main North Michigan Avenue, or were press spread all the way around? Where were you specifically?
Nay. We were what I like to call the media hole. It was the Grant Park parking garage. I forgot what the actual title of the garage was, but it was in the middle of the park. It's where the Art Institute is.
Yeah. And
it's right across the street from it. Literally the only way to get in is through a hole. It's like a stairway that goes down, and you have to walk through a door and then another hallway, and then you go through another hallway, and it was really strange. I've never seen anything like it. As a matter of fact, at the end of the weekend, we were wrapping up on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and they already started breaking it down, and they took down some of the walls, and you could see the parking garage. You could see like cars parked on the garage. It was very bizarre, but very cool.
Dalton Hopkins from frontstretch.com joining us here on the Fast Lane. One more question about Chicago before we move on to the Sonoma race, and then I want to touch on an article that you wrote about Tommy Martin. But Dalton, I didn't get to watch the race, but I heard that there was a big confrontation, supposedly granted as the most heated confrontation of the season, with Joey Logano and Ross Chastain. And people are surprised that NASCAR didn't penalize Ross for, I guess, bumping into the back of Joey Logano from behind. And then and there was basically a big wreck, I guess, in one of the corners of the race. And Joey Logano got hit behind by Ross Chastain, and Joey was beyond pissed from what I've heard on the recordings.
Yeah, I did talk to Joey. Look, we were listening to Joey's radio communication during the race, and essentially what appeared to happen was Joey got in the back of Ross, heading into a corner. Ross got wide, hit the wall, and then in the very next corner, Ross paid him back and completely sent Joey into the wall as well. among quite a few other cars. So Joey, understandably, was pretty upset with Ross, and we all knew it. So naturally, as soon as they came down pit road, I beeline towards that 22 car. And where did he park right in front of none other than Ross Chastain? And he walked over to Ross, and you can check out the video of the heated conversation on my Twitter page at Pit Lane CPT. It was, nobody could really tell what would happen, and I'm really hoping we get some professional lip readers to look at that video and analyze it and tell us what he says, because I would love to know. But basically, Joey said that Ross admitted it. He admitted that Ross Chastain wrecked him, and he should be fined. Now, here we are on recording this on Thursday, and Ross Chastain has not been fined, and he probably won't be fined. So I think the question is, where do we go from here? And I think, obviously, this is not the first time that Ross has been some kind of hot water with another driver. I guarantee it won't be the last either. But the question is, where do we go from here? And honestly, I think it's time for Joe to take matters into his own hands. If NASCAR will not fine him, and personally, I think that was actually the best decision. If NASCAR does not fine him, I think Joey should probably make it into a self-policing issue, if you get what I'm trying to say.
No, I completely get what you're trying to say. And I guess there's NASCAR fans that are upset that Ross supposedly wasn't penalized. And that in itself is an interesting topic. But now we go to the California race. So as someone who's not an avid NASCAR watcher, Dalton, what is the challenge round? Is this like the in-season tournament for the NBA? Like, is this just a little tournament inside of NASCAR? What is the challenge round?
Yeah, so this, honestly, I don't know if this specific round is any much different from the last 3 weeks.
Right.
Or excuse me, the last 2 weeks. But yeah, now we're down to 8 drivers. And maybe one of them people were expecting, but it's exactly what you were saying. So it's supposed to mirror the NBA in-season tournament, in which they have seeded 32 drivers, and then they pit these drivers against one another, against another specific driver. Like this weekend, it's Eric Jones versus John Hunter Nemechek, and they got to race one another, and whoever finishes ahead of the other moves on. So it's the first year NASCAR's trying it. It's kind of interesting. Look, they were encouraging people to make their brackets going into this tournament, going into this challenge, and a lot of people did make their brackets, and then the very first race at Atlanta, there were 0 brackets remaining. There were 0 perfect brackets remaining. So.
That's worse than the NCAA March Madness tournament, man.
Yeah, it's man. I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if it's a bad thing. I mean, but all in all, nobody's winning $1 million, because that was the prize, I think, to get a perfect bracket. So. Here we are. But yeah, we go into this weekend. We have 8 drivers. Legacy Motor Club.
Yes, sir.
I mentioned Nemechek and Eric Jones. They're pitted against one another. Quite a few other drivers. Ty Dillon is like the underdog that people are kind of quietly rooting for, because he's upset a lot of drivers so far. It's getting a little bit more interesting as time goes on. I think Sonoma's going to provide a little bit more surprise also.
You know, you mentioned the name Ty, and I know that's a different driver, but for Ed's sake, I've got to ask, for Ed's sake, Ty Gibbs with no wins, and right now he's where he usually is when it comes to like starting off in races. He's in the teens of placing right now, number 19 in the playoff standings. How soon are we going to see a Ty Gibbs win so I can see the biggest smile I've ever seen on Ed Lane's face?
First off, I mean, Ty Gibbs is going against Zane Smith this weekend in that very same tournament. So you got a conflict of interest between Ed and Trey Lyle. So
yeah,
there's going to be some infighting there. But I think when it comes to Ty Gibbs, though, man, I feel like for the last 3 years, everybody's been saying, "Oh, he could win next week," and honest to God, he could have. I mean, it's really hit or miss. I really don't know. I can't really accurately predict anymore, because every time I think, oh, he's going to win this year, he doesn't. And the beginning of this year was dreadful for him. I mean, it took until Darlington to finally get a top 10. But now he's clacking off some solid runs. I mean, he's actually a very well accomplished road course racer. Finished second to SVG, or excuse me, he didn't finish second to SVG, but he was really the only one who could challenge SVG in Mexico, and he showed some great pace, some great speed at Chicago as well this past weekend. He's a very accomplished road course racer. Now we're going into Sonoma. I mean, I think maybe he's got a chance there. I mean, he finished, I think it was third at Michigan, third or second at Michigan. He's had some decent runs in the past few weeks. Mm-hmm. I hate to speculate, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe his first one is right on the horizon, and we just can't expect it. But then again, I've said that before.
Yeah, absolutely. You hope for his case, for Joe Gibbs Racing, who does have someone in the top 5. It's just not everyone's favorite racer from what I'm hearing, Denny Hamlin. But you got Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and to all the Liberty fans listening right now, William Byron, number 1 right now. 1 win, 2 poles, 632 total points. Definitely something to look out for. Chase Elliott with a win under his belt 2 weeks ago. So it's definitely, the playoff standings itself looks great. This Sonoma race, I can't wait to hear Danny Peters' perspective on Monday about it, because from what I've seen, it's a beautiful track, Dalton.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that I've never been there, but Danny's going to be out there. He's going to provide some great coverage for us. But yeah, I've heard some wonderful things about that racetrack. I thought Chicago was a wonderful venue as well. But when you mentioned the Hendrick Motorsports guys, you know, you mentioned Kyle Larson. Larson's not really known for being a road racer, but yet he's got 2 wins at Sonoma, including last year. He's the defending race winner. So I think he's very high on people's lists.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, Dalton, real quickly, want to touch on this article because I found it interesting. Tommy Joe Martin in 2021, according to your article, along with his father, started Martin's Racing. And it's basically, the story itself is amazing from what I've read. Can you give us a little summary without like giving too much away so that people can go to frontstretch.com and take the time to read your beautiful article out there? But I thought it was interesting because it's obvious how passionate Martin is. Now he's got his own Xfinity team, and from what I'm hearing, they've really hit the ground running since they've started.
Yeah, it really focuses on Tommy Joe Martin's perspective, in which it's basically the story of Alpha Prime Racing and how they've been. It's only the last 5 years. They're only a 5-year-old team, but it's kind of a point in which they're only a 5-year-old team, and they've already accomplished a decent amount, more than a lot of other 5-year-old teams have. So I think it's really about the highs and the lows that Tommy has had to go through as a team owner, because, I mean, it's anybody who knows anything about racing and being a team owner or whatever, that's a tough job. I mean, that you are really sacrificing a lot to put in the effort to start a racing organization, and most of the time, more often than not, they fail.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen championship teams go away because they just ran out of the funding. So it's really mostly about him and the difficulties he's had to face, and some of the highs and the lows they've had to go through over the last few years, and basically what he wants to see out of that team over the next few years, and really the stuff that he's had to deal with. So, yeah, but like you said, you can check that out on frontstretch.com. The story is 5 years later. Tommy Joe Martin has already proven himself as a team owner, so I thank him for graciously offering his time. Very interesting story. I had to basically interview him inside of the Xfinity Series garage at Pocono while the pre-race ceremonies were going on. So he was pumped up and excited and I got some great quotes out of it.
Guys, we've had a great time with at Pit Lane CPT, Dalton Hopkins, frontstretch.com. Dalton, thank you for joining us, man. And for all our friends out there at frontstretch.com, tell them we say hi, and good luck in California to Danny, and for many more races to come for you guys.
You got it. Thank you, TJ. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dalton. When we come back, we're going to go to commercial, but when we come back, Liberty baseball fans, we got a treat for you. Former pitcher Garrett Horn, who's currently in the minors, playing the Hickory Crawdads, starts tonight against the Lynchburg Hillcats. He'll be hopping onto the show, and we're going to take a blast from the past. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Fast Lane with Ed Lane on 93.3 FM, 1320 AM. Download the VTRN Sports app or ask that smart speaker. Open VTRN Sports.
Hey, small to medium business owners, if you're frustrated with slow IT support, high costs, or paying for services you just don't use, it's time for a change. Hi, I'm Colt with We Fix Stupid Computers. We provide reliable on-site and remote support tailored for businesses just like yours. And we go beyond just fixing problems. We empower your staff with real tech knowledge so they can work smarter every day. From repairs to training to full IT support, we save you time, stress, and money. Call We Fix Stupid Computers, 434-525-8590, where smart support meets real savings.
When it comes to legal matters, there is no substitute for experience. Hi, I'm Randy Trost with Trost Law. We've gained knowledge from serving Virginians for over 4 decades. Since 1982, we've handled auto accidents and personal injury cases ranging from simple fender benders to complex tractor-trailer cases. And we're ready to put our experience to work for you. We hope you never need our services, but if you do, just give us a call at 777-HURT or visit us at trostlaw.com.
Hi. I'm Chuck from Aquatrack Adventures in Salem. The Virginia Talk Radio Network and InsaneRadioDeals.com have helped our company grow by sharing our company's message throughout Central and Southside Virginia. The gift cards and experiences sold on InsaneRadioDeals.com have brought us many new customers. If you're a business that wants to grow with a message that resonates and gets results, I highly recommend InsaneRadioDeals.com and the Virginia Talk Radio Network. Simply put, it works.
Head to Lynchburg-Hillcats.com to lock in your tickets for the Lynchburg Hillcats this season. Now here's VTRN Sports.
Hi, this is Zach Mackey, the voice of Virginia Tech men's basketball. You're listening to The Fast Lane with Ed Lane and Trey Lyle. Join the chat at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.
Stepping back into the Fast Lane, we're going to go down memory lane. And for a lot of Liberty Flames fans, we're headed back to a couple of years during the Scott Jackson era where you had a bullpen that was so amazing. You had Joe Adamitz, Mason Fluharty, Dylan Cummings, and among those three was Garrett Horn. And Garrett Horn, since leaving the Liberty Flames, graduating, has now gone on to play in the minors. He's with the Texas Rangers affiliate right now, the Hickory Crawdads. So I've decided to catch up with Mr. Garrett Horn here as he steps onto the Fast Lane. Garrett, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on. I mean, it's great to be back in Lynchburg and see a lot of old teammates, old friends, and catch up with everybody.
You talk about being back in Lynchburg. Have you been back in Lynchburg since you left Liberty, or is this the first time?
I came back over the off season to kind of just see everybody and train and spend some time with people I went to college with. So this is the second time I've been back.
What are the feelings for you right now? You were once a Liberty Flame. Now you come back to Lynchburg as a pro baseball player to play against the home team, the Lynchburg Hillcats. You're starting tonight as well. For those who are tuned in, if you don't know already, Garrett Horn is starting tonight. Are you starting game 1 or game 2 of tonight's doubleheader?
I'll be starting game one, and I'm super excited to be back. I mean, all I have is excitement. Come back, see familiar faces, and just, take it all in. Take in what I was doing here the last 3 years with a great coaching staff, great teammates, and great supporting friends. And to just come back as a professional baseball player is something really special.
Talking about going into your baseball career with the Hickory Crawdads, you were picked up by the Texas Rangers. You just left the ACL Rangers. And I'm curious, as someone who's never been through the system, what is it like going through a Major League Baseball team's farm system like the Texas Rangers? What's that process like as a minor league player?
Yeah, it's really cool, especially with the Rangers, an amazing organization. I mean, I couldn't have asked to get selected by a better organization, and just having the staff members that they have that just pour everything into you when you're down there. And especially for me being injured and just rehabbing with Keith Comstock and Henderson Lugo and Ed Young, and just getting with those guys. And they do a great job. And it's really good, especially with the Rangers. I don't know how their clubhouses are, but it seems like our clubhouse is really tight knit, and it's really fun to be around all the guys here. It's a good environment. It makes you feel comfortable, and it allows you to be at your best.
Being through that farm system and the clubhouses, man, I mean, what's it like hearing your name moving up? When you were told, hey, you're going to move up from the rookies to now high A, I mean, what's the emotions, man? It just feels like you can only go up from here, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool, especially when you hear it from the head coach down there and Nick Jansen. It's really cool. Your dream is being a Major League Baseball player, so getting the call up to the next level is something that's awesome. But then you have to realize that you got to go do your job so you can get called up to the next level after that, and just not worry about rushing it, but just stay in the present, but do your best to get that next call.
You talk about you have a job to do in the game of baseball. We obviously know pitchers, they come up to the mount, they wait for their name to get called to the mount, and then they perform at their highest level. What is it about being a pitcher that many baseball fans may not know, but someone like you who is at the position of pitcher does know? Like, what are jobs that pitchers have that people may not recognize?
I don't think there's anything that goes on that people don't necessarily recognize, but maybe the mental part of things, just making sure that each and every day you don't get too high and you don't get too low, and you just stay even, and you stay present, and you don't let yourself get in over your head, and you don't fall behind. It's all about staying mentally prepared for the next day and mentally even with yourself. And what helps with that is a great relationship with God. And if you have a great relationship with God and you're able to trust him, and you trust that he is looking out and giving you the best opportunity that you have, then you will stay very even with yourself and not ride an emotional roller coaster.
I love that you've mentioned that. By the way, for those who are just tuning in, Garrett Horn, former Liberty Flame, now currently in the Texas Rangers farm system, pitching for the Hickory Crawdads starting tonight in game one of the doubleheader against the Lynchburg Hillcats. Garrett, before coming to Liberty, was religion a big part of your life, or did it get instilled once you came to Liberty under Scott Jackson and then the coaching staff behind him once he departed?
Religion was always a part of my life, especially with my family growing up. We went to church. We talked about God. We prayed. But I definitely do think it took a big step once I got to Liberty. I'd take the people that I had at Liberty supporting me as a big influence on that. I think they did an amazing job helping me take that next step and really understand what it is to be a Christian and what it is to follow God and have him in your life. And so, yeah, I would say I was definitely religious, like my family's religious, but coming to Liberty and taking that next step was really big.
We talk about family life. You're a North Carolina guy. I'm a North Carolina guy. I grew up outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, a small town called Wendell. You grew up in the Greensboro area. Did you grow up the Did you grow up with the ACC and all the hype around it, the triangle, Wake Forest and all that? Like, were you surrounded by that as far as sports culture goes?
Yeah, growing up and living in Kernersville, it was a lot of my friends and everybody. We all grew up around that ACC, Wake Forest, UNC, Duke, and even Clemson. It's really nice down there because you have a lot of different sports teams, a lot of different colleges, and it's really cool to just be in that environment and be in that area.
Kernsville, Greensboro area. I've been there quite a few times myself in both Kernsville and Greensboro. I mean, I feel like there's plenty to do down there. Everyone just thinks it's a little city of Greensboro and then country roads, but it's like so much more, man. Like, what was it that you loved to do when you grew up in Greensboro? Were you born and raised in Greensboro, or?
I was born in Greensboro, but that was just the hospital I was born at. I grew up in Kernersville, right next to Winston-Salem, and it's like amazing down there. It's getting a lot bigger, not like too big, but it's definitely growing. And when I'm back home, it's always fun to meet up with friends and go play golf, or just when I grew up playing baseball, playing any sports really. And it's just amazing down there. I love it.
Were you recruited by any North Carolina schools before you made your decision to Liberty? And what was it that brought you to Liberty outside of religion? What was the aspect or cultural part that brought you?
I visited and was recruited by a few schools in North Carolina, but eventually when I went to Liberty and I stepped on that campus, not knowing what to expect, it blew my mind. I mean, I thought it was going to be more of like your average mid-major campus. You step on, oh, it's cool. But you step on to Liberty's campus and you think you're at a Power 5 school. I mean, it's amazing what they have here. And that wasn't the whole reason for me coming. It was a combination of everything. It was, you come here, wow, this is an amazing campus. You meet the coaching staff, amazing coaching staff, and the team was very welcoming. Very easy to talk to everybody there. Mm-hmm. And just having that environment, it just clicked with me immediately that this is where I want to be.
Garrett Horn, former Liberty Flames pitcher, starting pitcher tonight for the Hickory Crawdads against the Lynchburg Hillcats, joining the fast lane. Garrett, I'm curious about the transition when Liberty went from the ASUN to the Conference USA. What was that transition for you guys like, other than the fact you're playing different conference opponents now outside of Kennesaw State, of course?
I'd say it was a pretty easy transition. Like you said, Kennesaw State and even Jacksonville State coming over to Conference USA as well. I didn't get to play any conference games last year because I tore my UCL and was put on the shelf before that. But talking to the guys and watching them play, it seems like they had a lot of great times playing and going to New Mexico and playing Dallas Baptist, and it just seems like a good environment.
When you have an injury like a torn ACL, I mean, what does that do to your mental game? Obviously, you're not able to physically perform, but how does that affect you mentally when you have an injury like that? Does it rub you the wrong way, or did you stay positive throughout the healing process?
Yeah, so when I tore my UCL, initially hearing the words, it's a little shocking. It sets you back a little bit, even if you're expecting to hear it. It's a different thing when it's actually said to you, and it's very easy to get down on yourself. But as I talked about before, when you have great family and great friends and great coaches, and you have the people around you to lift you up, and you have a great relationship with God, that's what gets you through those times. Is when you trust God and you trust the people around you, and you know that the grass is just going to be greener on the other side. And so sticking with that, and then once again going to an amazing organization like the Texas Rangers, those people do such a great job with you and helping you get back to where you want to be. And I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Do you still stay in contact with Coach Scott Jackson, and has he given you any advice recently?
I'll talk to him every now and then. Mm-hmm. He was great to me while I was here, and he was amazing coach, one of the best coaches and he's a great person at that as well. On and off the field, just an absolute great human being, and pushes his guys to be great human beings. He always told us that as a coach, he wants to make us great baseball players, but further than that, he wants to make us great people off the field. When we leave Liberty University, he wants us to look back and say, yeah, I had a great time playing baseball, but I also grew as a person and as a follower of Christ. And so that's kind of the advice he gave me after I got drafted and going on to the Rangers, was kind of, don't forget who you are as a person. And like, I know you're going to get back to where you are where you want to be on the field, but don't lose sight of who you are as a person.
Garrett Horn, once again, joining us on the Fast Lane program. Garrett, we got a couple more minutes here before we got to go to commercial. Garrett, I'm curious at the emotion when you hear your name get drafted. What's going through your mind? Is it just excitement? Like what's the emotion?
Yeah, I mean, it's very exciting. Sitting in the living room with family and friends and my girlfriend, and just listening, just watching the draft, and it wasn't too anxiety filled because I was watching my friends get drafted as well. So that's like a really cool thing to do, is be able to sit back and just watch where your friends go. And that was something that I took from that as well. But being able to hear your name get called is something that you only get to do once.
Yeah.
And hearing my name get called and being with the people that I love around me it was something very special.
Absolutely. Once you get drafted, no one can take that away from you. You were drafted at the moment. It doesn't matter where your career goes at that point. And Garrett, 1.26 ERA, 22 strikeouts on the year, a 0.77 whip. I mean, dude, you're killing it in the stats game, man. I'm excited to see where you transgress, where you progressed in your career, and I'm excited to watch you tonight. I got to know, man, when you're getting ready to play in a game, what's some pre-game traditions that you have?
Nothing crazy. I want to get a routine and stay in my routine. Show up to the clubhouse at the same time or around the same time. Just relax. Don't focus too much on the game beforehand. Just take a step back and just be with the people around me in the clubhouse. Not stressed out. Just stay relaxed, and then when it's time to get going, go to the training room, get activated after that, and just get my body into a really good spot for the game.
Who do you stay in contact with the most out of the Liberty teams that you played alongside with?
I mean, I like to stay in contact with a lot of the guys I played with because we built such a great bond there. I mean, Coach Jackson, Coach Williams, talk to Tyler Robinson every now and then, Ryan Butler, Josh Fellows, two really good friends I talk to a lot. You know, Dylan Matheson, Spencer Williams. I can go on and on and on.
Yeah. Even
Cole Hertzler, who got drafted here before me, Mason Fluharty, Dylan Cumming, all those guys that got drafted on the teams I played with my freshman year. It's a great community at Liberty, and I wouldn't have rather been anywhere else in the world, no matter how much money or anything you could have given me. Liberty was the best spot in the world, with the best coaches in the world, the best people in the world, and I'll take that to the grave. It was a great community, great environment, and it teaches you everything you need to know how to be a person in the future and how to be a great player on the field. And I, like all those people I met with, I try to keep in contact with because they're amazing people, and they taught me a lot as well.
Absolutely. Garrett Horn joining us here on the program. Garrett, tell the listeners tonight that are listening right now, or whether they're listening before the game starts, why should they come out tonight? Why is it important for people to come to the doubleheader tonight between your Hickory Crawdads and the Lynchburg Hillcats?
I would just say it's great to come out and watch professional baseball where guys are not playing for themselves and they're playing to win. We're all playing to win. We're all playing to get better. And, you know, we're just out here playing for each other. And, You hear a lot in professional baseball that you aren't cheering for the guy next to you because you want to be the guy to get promoted. And that's not how it is with the Hickory Crawdads. We're a tight clubhouse with amazing coaches and amazing teammates. And all we're doing is going out there every night, playing for the guy next to us and playing to win. And I feel like that's a rare thing to find in baseball. And that's what sets us apart.
Absolutely. Well, Garrett, thank you for joining us on the show today, man. And good luck tonight. I'll try and be there as soon as I can once I get off of this program, but I'm excited to watch you play tonight. And once again, good luck. Liberty Flames fans love you and can't wait to watch you play.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much to Garrett Horn, former Liberty Flame, for joining us today. When we come back, we're going to have one more guest, Royal Howell of the Juice Network. He's going to talk about the debut of Cooper Flagg, Tyrese Proctor in the Summer League. Also, ACC Media Days. What should we be looking out for? Royal Howell is going to be attending, and we're going to get some insight from him. When we come back, don't go away. This is the Fast Lane on VTRN Sports Network.
Car insurance rates are rising rapidly. That's no secret. It's because the cost of medical care for those who are injured and the repair and replacement cost of damaged vehicles is skyrocketing. But what can you do about it? Hi, this is Judd Gardner with Gardner Insurance Solutions in Lynchburg. We've been helping Central Virginia drivers purchase the coverage they need at affordable prices since 1993. Talk with us before you pay again. We represent numerous companies and have many cost-saving strategies. Gardner Insurance Solutions, 434-316-5433.
Have you looked at your home's exterior lately? Do you see faded siding, paint peeling, and wood rotting, windows that are impossible to open and close, and gutters falling off? Call Collins Siding and Windows to transform your home's exterior and save you money on energy costs. Dreaming of a new porch or sunroom? Collins can do that too. Since 1989, Collins Siding and Windows has been transforming homes in Central Virginia. Roofs, windows, siding, gutters, porches, decks, and sunrooms. They can do it all. Call Collins Siding and Windows today, 434-525-6307.
You're thinking, can our business afford executive maintenance? You should be thinking, can we afford not to use executive maintenance? They'll give your business the professional look that makes a good impression for your clients. That's what they do for us at the Virginia Talk Radio Network. From monthly office cleaning to pressure washing, strip seal and wax for tile floors, and construction cleanup, we trust executive maintenance to keep the Virginia Talk Radio Network sparkling. You should too. Put them to work for you. Visit executivemaintenancelynchburg.com and call them today.
This fall, Saturdays belong to the Hokies. Oh, and these Hokie fans are going crazy here in College Town, USA. Lane Stadium, electrifying, iconic, the best in college football. Oh, you'd have to be here to believe it. Built by tradition and fueled by passion. Breaks free at the 10, to the 5, touchdown Tech, where every roar and every cheer brings you home. Are you ready to start jumping? Tickets on sale now. Visit Hokiesports.com.
Hi, this is Zach Mackey, the voice of Virginia Tech men's basketball. You're listening to the Fast Lane with Ed Lane and Trey Lyle. Join the chat at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.
And we welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen, to the program, the Fast Lane with Ed Lane. I'm TJ Wilkerson, your fill-in host, filling in for Ed one more time before he comes back from vacation. Thank you all for joining us on this program so far. We've had Dalton Hopkins of FrontStretch.com. We've had Garrett Horn, former Liberty Flames pitcher, come on board and tune in. And now we're going to have another special guest, a guy that I've connected with on several times on my podcast, The Sports Nerd, a guy that I've met up with at ACC Media Days, the kickoff, the tip-off, you name it, and at the ACC tournament. He reports for the Juice Network for Duke, Carolina, NC State, ACC kickoff, again, returning 2 weeks from now, and we're going to get some insight from the one, the only, Mr. Royal Howell. Royal, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How's it going? How's it going?
Going good, man. How are you doing?
I'm blessed, man. Just got off work, man. I'm ready to rock and roll, talk about some sports, and let's get going, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's a crazy time in sports. College football's right around the road, Royal, and it's an exciting time for college sports. What's even more exciting is watching Duke's very own Cooper Flagg finally debuting in the NBA. We saw Tyrese Proctor for Duke, also get his debut last night with the Cavs taking on the Pacers, who Liberty Flames, Talon Peters got drafted by and played last night himself. Did you get to watch any of those games last night, Royal, especially the Mavs versus the Lakers?
Absolutely, man. I think this is one of the most anticipated matchups we've seen in recent history. With you had Bronny James for the Lakers and Cooper Flatt, the number one overall draft pick, National Player of the Year, Consensus Player of the Year in almost every award category in college basketball last year, tipping off last night. It was definitely an anticipated event for sure. I think a lot of talk this morning has been the shooting struggles of Cooper Flatt yesterday, shooting just 5 of 21 from the field.
Yeah.
6 boards, 4 assists. But I think more often than not, people have to realize that this is just summer league basketball. A lot of players are still trying to make the roster. A lot of players are on two-way contracts. Give it time. Don't overreact. It's Overreaction Friday. Relax. He will be perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
I agree. I mean, instantly, man, because he shot terribly from the field, everyone was like, oh, he's already a bust. Like, let's stop. Let's calm down. It's as Coop said, it was his first NBA game, guys. Let's not freak out too much. I can assure you everyone has bad games. Kobe airballed 3 threes in a row in the playoffs his rookie year.
Exactly. It's a lot of talk today. I mean, we saw Victor Wembanyama last year, I believe, shoot 2 of 13 in the summer league game. Let's just hold the horses, relax. Everything will be okay.
Are you excited to watch Knipple and Sion James come out for the Hornets tonight, as well as Kaman Malawach?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Man. I think it's more so being here in North Carolina. The Hornets have been irrelevant since the purple shirt guy in the playoff against the Miami Heat years ago.
Yeah.
So they haven't really been relevant since last year. They lost over 40 basketball games. I mean, just the organization has been atrocity. They just need to rebuild that culture. They have a lot of talent, nevertheless, but it's all about rebuilding that culture, getting glue guys inside that type of system that want to win, that come from winning programs, and guys that are all about just playing together, man. They have talent.
Yeah.
They have the assets.
Yeah.
Let's play ball.
Absolutely. Royal Howell of the Juice Network joining the Fast Lane show right now, our last passenger pickup in this show. We pivot away from basketball, Royal. ACC Media Days is coming up. And boy, oh boy, there's a lot to look at when you preview it, even outside the 4 teams that you cover, Duke State, Wake Forest, and Carolina. But I mean, we're seeing a general manager, former NFL star, Stanford star, Andrew Luck is coming to ACC Media Days. So outside of Bill Belichick coming, that's been one of the talks of the town. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I imagine it's because, look, Frank Reich is a temporary head coach until they can find an actual replacement. They've even said it themselves. Literally, Luck called him while he was at Costco, he said, and said, hey, I need a coach on the fly. Can you come and coach at Stanford? Sure. Why not? What are you looking forward to hearing as far as the Stanford Cardinals and what Andrew Luck may have to say?
I think this is a major move for the Cardinals. I think last year, I believe they were like 3-9, 2-6 in the ACC, and with the expansion of the league, 17 lead. Now, I think this just does a lot for the conference in regards to recruiting and, more importantly, NIL with the whole core values and revenue share gap. I think this just does a lot from the retention and salary cap management aspect of Stanford. You having a big face in there, a big name guy, and Luck that's kind of trying to rejuvenate that program. A program that has been nevertheless irrelevant in recent memory. So bringing him in with conference realignment, you have teams reportedly in the next 2 to 3 years trying to get out of the ACC. I think this is a good time to kind of brand yourself and kind of revamp yourself just for the ACC in general.
Absolutely. And Andrew Luck's a really smart guy, one of the highest IQs that a lot of people have seen in football in recent memory. I mean, he graduated as valedictorian, top of his class, all of that. So he's more than just a guy who knows football. I feel like he's got a long-term plan. We pivot back to teams that you cover. Let's start with Duke before we get to Carolina State and them. First off, Can we assure the fans that despite the fact that Duke is paying Darian Mensah, transfer from Tulane, bunch of money now, how do we know? How do you feel like, I guess the best way to ask is he going to stay, unlike Riley Leonard and unfortunately Malik Murphy? And I hope he does well at Oregon State, but is Darian Mensah the real deal?
That's a $7 million question. Reportedly, he's making about $3.5 a year. Reportedly, I mean, you've seen all type of numbers: $8 million here, $7 million there. I'll tell you this, man. Duke, what they really missed at the quarterback position was the ability to extend plays, and the ability to have a run game and keep defenses at bay with Malik Murphy. Now, don't get me wrong. He broke the record for most touchdown passes this season from a quarterback. Malik Murphy did just a year ago.
He did.
But this Mensah guy, I mean, you're talking about a 66 completion rate, over 2,700 yards passing, 22 touchdowns. He does have, indeed, the ability to extend plays. I mean, you've seen all the preseason rankings. He's like top 4 in the ACC for preseason rankings coming in. I mean, like literally, the kid has it all. I mean, you don't pay a kid like that to come into a program under Manny Diaz, who's coming off a 9-4 season, ultimately a bowl loss to Ole Miss. But, I mean, he's revamped this program that's been through so much on and off the field. A kid that wants to come to Duke University, get to the pros ultimately, but, just make a living for himself. He came from a single-parent household. He's only recruited by Tulane, Idaho State, and Linwood. I mean, the kid, you talk about his story. The kid has it all. He has all the intangibles. It's going to be very interesting to see what Manny Diaz does in Durham this year.
Agreed. And I'm excited because I think Manny Diaz is making the right approach. I mean, this is going to be a slow rebuild, and you look at the schedule, it's going to be tougher than next year, man. I mean, you're talking about Luke Altmaier and the Illinois Fighting Illini. Good news is they're coming to Durham, but the bad news is they're at the top of their game. And then we see right into it, they go straight into ACC play. Duke versus State at home, luckily. And you look down the line, there's Clemson at Death Valley, man. So Duke does not have the easiest schedule.
At all. And I think a lot of it really boils down to, I was listening to Manny Diaz talk recently about, it really boils down to the defense. I mean, you got VJ Anthony, Wesley Williams. You have a future pro in Chandler Rivers, who has been leading almost every preseason defensive award list. I mean, the kid's going to be definitely, in my opinion, a top 3 pick when he leaves Durham for sure. I mean, the bag's definitely calling. They have the ability to get off the field on 4th down. They were, I think, 4th in the conference, number 1 in turnovers, number 1 in sacks. I mean, it really boils down to that defense. The secondary for sure. They brought some transfers in. It really boils down to getting off the field on 3rd down and keeping your defense fresh and at bay.
Royal Howell, Juice Network reporter for the Triangle. All right, Royal, I'm going to ask you a tough question, bud. I asked this to a Virginia Tech Hokies beat writer as far as Brent Pry and his hot seat on the job. I asked David Teal about UVA with Tony Elliott. I'm going to ask the tough question because now I know that NC State's program is willing to move on from coaches. See Kevin Keats, for example. Is this the last straw for Dave Doran if he doesn't meet expectations for the NC State Wolfpack football program?
I'll tell you this, man. Dave Doran, if you look at his numbers over the last several years, and I'll tell you right now, 8-4 in 2020, a loss in the Gator Bowl. 2021, it was a forfeit to UCLA. That was a COVID year. They went 9-3, 8-5 in 2022. They have 4 straight losses in Gator Bowls, not including the COVID year due to UCLA forfeiting ultimately. But, I mean, what are we doing here in Raleigh? Are we paying for mediocrity? And if so, the results speak for themselves. Okay, 9 wins here, 8 wins there. But after a while, just like the whole Pittsburgh Steelers Mike Tomlin theory, the standard is the standard.
Yeah.
When does the standard become enough? You want to see winning in Raleigh. We saw what just happened to Kevin Keats recently, coming off a Final Four year, the first in decades. Mm-hmm. They fire the coach the year they have a bad season right after the Final Four appearance. It speaks for itself. When is enough? Enough.
Yeah, and you look at NC State's schedule. Look, man, you're at Hard Rock Stadium against Miami. You're at Notre Dame. You're going to South Bend. I mean, they don't have an easy schedule, so to speak. And I think, though, you look at their first 3 games, I think that can determine not only the mood for fans, but where we can see this program running as far as this season goes, in all honesty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I absolutely agree. I think just being here in Raleigh, and it's not necessarily a bad thing to have 8 and 9 wins. I totally get it. But when do you want to start competing for, an ACC championship where I believe Clemson has won like the last, 10 out of the last 14? I mean, Clemson's really the creme de la creme of the ACC. So when do you want to kind of start competing more, getting those recruits in, getting more NIL money? Like, the record speaks for itself as far as mediocrity, but when is enough enough? You want to produce more championships, more bowl game wins, not just appearances. As I stated before, 4 or 5 straight losses in bowl games. When is enough enough? When is enough enough?
Royal, 2 more questions for you before we have to cut the program on to make it rain with Adam Shine. But Carolina, right? Bill Belichick, the whole story around that. What are you, as far as a reporter for Carolina, looking forward to, as well as what do you want to hear from Belichick and crew when you go to media days in Charlotte?
Oh, man, I'll tell you this, man. When we see each other in Charlotte, I think this is going to be one of the most anticipated ACC kickoffs in recent memory. You got all the big dogs on the last day. And, I mean, I tell you this. What you want to hear from the North Carolina program is consistency. You want some dogs on the field. You don't want to hear about Jordan Hudson and the off-the-field scandals and the PR nightmares from North Carolina. And you got people all over the networks saying this could be possibly the worst season for Bill Belichick since Cleveland. I mean, it speaks for itself. You wanted to see Carolina go out there and play some football and win some football games, a bowl game appearance. They lost a lot of talent, including Amari Hampton for the Chargers. I mean, like, literally, quarterback play is going to be a big question for the Tar Heels this year. The defense, which was abysmal over the last 2-3 years. I mean, transfers out of the wazoo. You want to see a team that comes out and responds to the coach and be a reflection of the coach ultimately. Coach Belichick is a Hall of Famer walking. He came into this program ultimately because, in my opinion, I felt like he didn't have any type of NFL jobs available at his will. And as soon as he got the UNC job, then you heard a lot of rumors of him having potential interviews, whatever the case may be. I think for him to be in North Carolina and be successful, he has to win immediately. Can you imagine the Tar Heels come out here and lose the first 3 games of the season? I mean, you're talking about him on the hot seat right now and the Jordan Hudson scandal. Let them lose the first 3 games of the season. It's going to be turmoil in Chapel Hill.
Royal, do you agree it's Clemson, SMU, and Miami right now as the top 3 teams? Maybe we see Florida State flip the program and get back to the standard as the standard is at Florida State under new quarterback Thomas Castellanos, who is ready to face Bama his first week. But then you also look at other programs. I mean, shoot, are we in agreement here that the top 3 programs are Clemson, SMU, and Miami, just like last year?
Absolutely, absolutely. What Clemson has been able to do within the last 14 years, winning 8 titles, is just quite remarkable. I mean, you finished 13th to 20th in the AP poll for 4 consecutive years. After 6 straight top 4 finishes, you split the past 4 conference titles. They are the creme de la creme of the ACC. I mean, including last year, knocking off SMU and Charlotte, to get that last Final Four berth over Alabama. I mean, it speaks for itself, man. Clemson, regardless of what you or how you feel about them, they're the top of ACC. I think Miami will have something to say about that also. I mean, you lost, your number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward. Who, I mean, rightfully so. He was a problem on the field. He was definitely a Heisman Trophy candidate. I mean, he had all the intangibles. But I think in the ACC, it really boils down to Clemson, as you said. SMU, who is a sleeper. Miami, for sure. I'm not so high on Florida State just because of all the off-the-field stuff that they've endured over the last 2 years, not necessarily playing up the par just a year ago. And then also, man, just there's been a lot of rumors of, coaching changes and players not being happy with how the program's being ran. And it's going to be very interesting to see how can they kind of respond off of a down season a year ago where they were literally the laughing stock of the ACC. And then you reportedly have all these rumors about coaches and players, leaving the program and them, trying to bid themselves out of the ACC conference, which I'm sure that we'll hear from Mr. Phillips in Charlotte in a couple weeks. It's just going to be very interesting to see how that kind of transpires. But I believe, like you said before, Clemson, Miami, SMU, top 3 ACC in my opinion as well.
Royal Howell, Juice Network has joined the program, gave us a little bit of what we can expect to see and what we hope to see with the ACC as far as Carolina schools go. We didn't really touch on Wake Forest, but I do expect it to be a rebuilding year for them. As far as Carolina State and Duke go, I mean, we've touched on it. Those three schools, a lot of eyes on them because, you know, certain aspects with those programs as well. Whether or not the ACC's future is grim or not, depending on the clause and everything, I think it's a perfect time to enjoy the ACC while we can. And it's going to be interesting to see what Jim Phillips has to say as far as what's come out about potential breakaways from the conference and whether or not everyone's overreacting about it. Because if truth be told, and David Teal said it best, I think people are overreacting about the ACC being dismantled. What do you think, Royal, before we let you go?
I see the pros and cons of it. I think ultimately we all know it's really about money at the end of the day, regardless of how they try to shoot it or slice and dice it to you. It's really about money at the end of the day. And I mean, we hear almost every other week about, you know, Clemson potentially leaving and Florida State with the SEC having their eyes on them. And I mean, the Big Ten possibly. I mean, the money, if you really want to look at the money, is really in the SEC and Big Ten when it comes to just the revenue gap, NIL, being able to have that revenue share gap. It really just boils down to, you know, going in court, obviously, the legalities of can you leave the conference? Are you still within this deal within the year span? The TV rights, all these are very, very important factors that these schools have to look at. And can these other schools be successful in the SEC or Big Ten if it came down to them being bought out or them, you know, completing their tenure within ACC and then leaving ultimately for another conference? There's just a lot of legalities with it. And it remains to be seen, man. I think ultimately if I had to tell you right now, today on Friday, June the 12th or June the 11th, I think that ultimately Clemson is going to end up leaving the conference. I hate to say it. I think when it comes down to it, the right amount of money is going to get Clemson out of the ACC. You heard it here first.
Agreed. Royal Howell of the Juice Network, thank you for joining us, man. Hope to have you back on this program. If not here, then the Sports Nerd. Either probably more than likely after ACC Media Days, just to see what everyone's saying, all the fuss and bust is about. Thank you for joining the program, man.
Absolutely, buddy. I'll see you in Charlotte. Take care.
Yes, sir. Royal Howell of the Juice Network. That's all for us here at the Fast Lane. Ed will be back next week. We'll see you Monday. Now on to Make It Rain with Adam Shine.
But Max Fried is not going to participate. He will pitch tomorrow against the Cubs. The Yankees do play the Atlanta Braves in the first series back from the All-Star game. So is Max Fried going to pitch? Again, he pitches tomorrow. Technically in the rotation, it